There is a plus saying in leadership that if you think you're leading and there's nobody following you, you are only going on a walk. On this platform, you are going to learn principles of leadership. You are going to encounter different leaders. You are going to learn about how you can grow as a leader, how you can make an impact. My name is Samuel Eyim, and I'm the host for the leadership platform. I am a leadership coach, a lawyer by profession, a John C. Maxwell certified coach. I have been in corporate life in senior positions for several years, and now I run the Center for Transformational Leadership, where we train and coach leaders to become better leaders. And I invite you to go on a journey with us as we discuss the subject of leadership in the coming weeks.
This and every Saturday, you have opportunity to ask questions, share your views on important leadership matters. Hello. Good evening, everyone. And this is Saturday evening, January 15. The year is already running, and we are here going to give you some good food for thought. We're going to share some ideas with you on leadership. And so we invite you to join. And please introduce yourself. We like to see you introduce yourself. We take the pleasure to appreciate you. So introduce yourself. Even if you are a regular participant, just enter your name and where you are joining from, so that we can let the world know that you are on the leadership platform. We want to encourage you also to share the link with your friends and invite them this evening, especially for those of you in business, entrepreneurs, because this is going to be a great topic for you. So go ahead and whether you are on YouTube, subscribe to our channel and share with your friends and invite them to join this evening's discussion. We know that so many of you join and you don't introduce yourself. So please go ahead and introduce yourself. I can see already Ebenezer Yeboah-Tufo. Ebenezer, a regular participant who is also growing and was a part of the Put Your Dream to the Test. He's gone through the growth journey, and he's currently in France, and we appreciate you, Ebenezer, for being on the program. So everybody go ahead and introduce yourself. This evening, we are going to discuss a very important subject, and we have a very good, competent person to do that with us. And we know that every business starts from an idea of one person, and that person builds the business up, and sometimes it becomes like a family business. Then it grows up into a big conglomerate. A few businesses start as independent corporate entities. Most businesses start from one man, one woman who grows the business, and usually the person wants to hand over the business or the assets or the resources to the next generation. And who is the best suited? The first call usually will be the children and families. So we have some businesses that have grown as family businesses. The founders are gone, and the family has managed the business, and they have quite a number of people, either as brothers, sisters, or other um, people who are part of the family, and they are bringing them into the family. Now, sometimes this idea works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes a good, successful business goes on and it's passed on to a son or a daughter, and the business fails. Um, and when we're talking business, it's not just a corporate. Even these days, churches have become businesses. So when we are talking family, you hear of these churches, they are grooming their son, they are grooming their wives to become part, and these churches are run by husband and wife and their children, and there can be issues around that. So this evening we are going to discuss this business. How do you run a family business so that the business can outlive the founder? We've also found that sometimes when the founder passes on, sometimes there are conflicts and confusions among the children or among the family people, and then they're not able to carry on the business as planned. And when they do, and the business is growing, the question of how do you organize it, and so on and so forth. So these are all very important questions, and the questions of leadership, there are questions of succession, there are questions of principles of how to run a business as a sole proprietor, as a single entrepreneur, to a family, and run into corporate. Then this corporate will bring other professionals into the business. So there is also that dimension. Maybe you are working for a corporate which is a business, a family business. You are working for a family business. You are a professional working for a family business. How do you navigate within the family politics and so on and so forth? So this is a very important topic. There's so many aspects of leadership principles that come into it. And we have no mean a person this evening to speak to us than Mr. Seyram Kawor. Mr. Kawor is a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, and he's lectured for several years in finance at the University of Cape Coast and other campuses. He's done a lot of research, and his research interests center around financial analysis and business valuation, corporate failures and production, corporate distress and analysis, working capital management, analysis of pension funds, management accounting, and financial development. So his interest is around finance, and you can understand that because he is currently completing his PhD in economics. He is a chartered management accountant from the UK. He's an associate chartered management accountant, chartered global management accountant. He has a master's of business administration and a bachelor of commerce, all from the University of Cape Coast. And as I said, as I go through his CV, he's been senior examiner at the University of Cape Coast. He's been head of department. He's been in several committees of the university. He's published extensively on different subjects, and we'll share his detailed CV with you. Very impressive in articles, journals, and he's spoken at various seminars on different topics around business, around leadership, around finance, and things like that. So we are happy to have Mr. Kawor speak to us this evening on the subject of the effective governance and leadership of family businesses. How do you lead and organize family businesses so that they are effective, they are sustainable, and they outlive the founder? Mr. Kawor, you are welcome. And let me say that Mr. Kawor is a great supporter of CTL Africa, and he's participated in several of our Live to Lead event, and he's helped us, extend Live to Lead to the University of Cape Coast campus. He helped us to organize a rebroadcast of Live to Lead, and he's always available to help us share leadership idea. He's passionate about young people, about business, about leadership. And Mr. Kawor, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to speak to us, share your thoughts on effective governance and leadership of family businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Seyram. Thank you for this opportunity to share my thoughts on leadership and governance in family businesses. We all know that, as Mr. Nim stated, businesses start with one person or group of persons, usually families, and these family businesses grow, and then we need to maintain them. Family businesses around the world constitutes about 90% of the businesses that we have. Unfortunately, we have about 70% failure of these family businesses. With time, the families fall apart simply because the head of the family is no longer there. The children fight among themselves. The businesses at the end of the day comes to a standstill. Some are liquidated. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening, we take ourselves through a journey to see how we can sustain these family businesses that we have from time to time to ensure that we have the kind of business we want to run with ourselves. What is the outline of my presentation today? I'll give an introduction. What are the challenges and risks for family businesses? Governance and leadership for family businesses. Why do we need governance for family businesses? What's a family constitution? Family assembly, family meetings, family council, family office, so that when we have issues that guide the family business that we are running, we would be in a position to run them appropriately. Ladies and gentlemen, just consider yourself a family. You have a wife, you have a husband, you started your business, you give birth to 2, 3, 4, 5 children. These children grow up. They also give birth to 2, 3, 4, 5. So you realize that your family is going to expand. And once the family expands, you are going to have aunties, uncles, nephews, nieces, grandparents, and the rest who are part of that particular family. And once you have these people as part of the family and you have a business, then it is important to maintain that particular family business. Around the world, we have Toyota company started as a family business. Irani Brothers has started as a family business. When it comes to Ghana, we have Irani Brothers, we have Mechanical Lloyd, and we have a lot of these companies that are running. Now, there is the need for us to create value. If we have a poor governance system, the poor leadership system that you have will spoil that particular business that you are creating. Now, family businesses are more complex than other business models that we have around the world, because there is a need for us to negotiate family and business relationships. There is intergenerational expectations over that particular business that we have. And so where we have good governance system, it spells out the rights, responsibilities, and relationships and how to manage the business professionally among family members. G20 with the OECD principles of governance stated, and I quote, that good corporate governance is not an end in itself. It is a means to support economic efficiency, sustainable growth, and financial stability. It facilitates companies' access to capital for long-term investment, and helps ensure that shareholders and other stakeholders who have contributed some amount of money are treated fairly in the business. So it means that there is a need for us to have good corporate governance and good leadership in these family businesses that we have from time to time. Now, once we are talking about family business, we are talking about a group of interconnected shareholders, family ownership, that will ensure that we have good leadership of the families, the relationship and the interactions of the businesses, as well as the businesses that we have in themselves. Now, Peter Drucker tells us that the family serves the business. The family serves the business. Neither will do well if the business is run to serve the family. It is the family that serves the business. It is not the business that serves the family. If you have a family that is sitting down and is expecting the business to serve the family, the business will not grow. The expectations will not be met. And where expectations are not met, then we have a problem. That is where we have effective governance and leadership to add value to the family business, so that whatever that we are doing as a family, we would be able to do them properly. So what are the challenges that face the family businesses? What are the risks that family businesses face from time to time? Now, we said that with a family business, we have that emotional attachment, psychological ownership, love, resentment, attachments to the past, promises made and expectations about the future, and those things that people will want to have from time to time. Now, these families, some have values, some have principles they will want to maintain. We need to have a governance structure that aims to separate family issues from business decisions. But then sometimes there's an overlap between the family business and then the family issues. Now, how are retirement processes done? Who is employed? Who are the successors? What is the length of tenure of somebody who is going to be an employee, the director, a board member of the family business? Family share ownership, inheritances, trading of shares, next generation education, development. Because the core value of the family business is the next generation. Their education is very key in whatever that we do. If we do not take their education very serious, it affects whatever that we do. And so when we look at the risk, we're looking at the complexity of family relationships. Complexity of family relationships. You know, the family is such that it grows. If you have 2 children, then you have 2 generations that you are creating. These 2 generations that you are creating, they have branches. And these 2 among them can have 3 children. and they grow. Now, what happened? We leverage on the expertise of these family members. So if you have a lawyer, you have a banker, you have an engineer, you have an architect, you have a teacher, you have a doctor in that particular family, you have a nurse in that particular family. There are expertise that we can leverage on so that at the end of the day, this expertise can be worked on so that we benefit from it. But what do we see? If this is not properly managed, it leads to resentment, it leads to anger, it leads to dislocation of the family. And that is where we have corporate governance system, proper leadership system that will spell out the duties, the roles, the vision of the family. Education needed to be done to ensure that our families have these core values they cherish so much that they will not want to put it aside. So the complexity brings a lot of challenge. The other challenge, the other risk, an understanding of the rights and responsibilities of the family members. It's a family business. And in any business organization, the person who establishes that particular business is not the same as the person. It's not the same as the business. Once you establish a business and you've registered that particular business, that business is separate and distinct from those who have created it. The assets of the business are not the same as the assets of the owner. It is a business and it must be run. So we have the corporate legal entity that says that the business is separate and distinct from the owners. So the relationship you create with the business must be different. But in a family situation where the roles and responsibilities, the rights are not spelled out properly, some family members think that the properties of the family business are the properties of the family. And for that matter, they claim some ownership. They lay hands on some of the properties of the business, and some want to use it as their own. And that becomes a challenge. We need to look at that very well. It's a risk. That is why we have good leadership, governance structures put in place, especially the family constitution that spells out the rights and responsibilities of all the family members. So you know exactly what you are going into and what you have to do with. The third challenge, the third risk is the increasing complexity of multiple generations. Multiple generations. So you have given birth to one, but that one has given birth to five. The five, they've given birth to four, five again. And this five goes on and on. And so once you are married, there is some kind of intergenerational responsibility that is being carried out. Ladies and gentlemen, if we have these generations coming in, then there is additional responsibility. There are hundreds of owners of that particular family. Your in-law, your brother-in-law, your son-in-law, your daughter-in-law, they are all part of the family. Once they are part of the family, so how do we manage these multiple generations? How do we manage the succession? So that you, the three, so if you talk about Irani Brothers, these are two Lebanese brothers that came to Ghana and established the business in the 1970s. Irani Brothers, they are the largest importer of flour for biscuits and whatever item that we want with flour in Ghana. They import 60% of the flour that we spend in Ghana. and they generate over millions, over 20 millions of dollars in a year in Ghana. These two brothers have passed. They are dead and gone. But Irani Brothers are still running. Currently, the one who is running that particular business for them is the son-in-law of the family that is running that particular business. We have the issue of Mechanical Lloyd. Those of you who have been following the story of Mechanical Lloyd, it's a family business that is into importation of cars, different brands of cars, and dealing with cars. But today, if you go to their premises, the family is in tatters. They are in court. Different people are the ones who are running that particular business for them. So we need to look at these multiple generations, the risks they bring. There are some places, sometimes you cannot question, especially where there is power and dominance. You know, family businesses are created by very powerful family members who are entrepreneurial. They bring ideas. So they have some positions in the family. And when they talk, nobody talks. Whatever they say, their decisions are final. In our culture, in Ghana, it's unacceptable to challenge the decision of your uncle, of your auntie, of your senior brother, because they are the ones who are into the business. They've started it. They are the oldest. And we live in a country that we respect gray hair. And so once the person is talking, you can question what the person is doing. Where there is this power and dominance in the business that we are running, ladies and gentlemen, we have issues. How do we overcome these complexities? How do we ensure that there is good leadership that will blend the generation, the older generation, the senior generation, the senior members of the family with the younger generation? Today, we have senior citizens who do not know how to use technology to do a lot of things. We have the younger generations who can use technology to improve the things that are being done. So the younger generation will have a different thinking, different mindset about the things that are being done. Today, when you are advising the younger generation, they think you are wasting their time. You just talk and let's go and do what we want to do. They have a different mindset. So there is the need for good leadership to bring the older generation and the younger generations together. So that when these people come together, they would be in one tandem with the vision of the family. And how is this done? That is where we have good governance and good leadership to ensure that we get the right things to be done. Now, when we talk about governance and leadership of family businesses, ladies and gentlemen, one thing that we want to look at is the diversity of family business. We don't have one size fits all. The size of any family will be different. Someone will have one child. Someone will have two. Someone will have three. Someone will marry only one. We live in a society. Let's accept it. We live in a society that accepts multiple marriage. So if you have those ones, and so the objectives are going to be different. Family ownership and management are going to be different. In our country, the context is different, the culture is different, the legal systems are different. So when you have all these things, the business that is being run in the US, in the UK, the way they are being run will not be the same way they are being run in Ghana. We have France, Denmark, Germany, UK, US, and some Gulf countries, they have codes for family businesses. They have those codes that they follow. They have formal structures that they follow. But in our country, in Africa, we don't have such codes. Our government of Ghana is saying that they want to build entrepreneurial country, where the entrepreneurial country that we want to build, it means that individuals will have to establish the businesses and make sure that these businesses are run. But we don't have any code of ethics, any code of governance, any leadership system for family businesses. Because look, the family businesses are different from the corporate businesses that we have. The companies that are there, they are different. The dynamics are not the same. Some can be run the same way, but they have different dynamics, and that is where we need to look at it. And so it is important not to generalize and not to assume that the governance model is best for all types of businesses. No, they are not the same. They are different. And so we need to understand the type of family business that we are running, and we couch a system that fits that particular family business. Not family A is doing it this way, and for that matter, we must also do it that way. One family might have all the resources, so they are doing it in a certain way. You don't have those resources, and for that matter, you cannot do it the way that family is doing it. And so what do? You come together and then make a decision. How do we make our own work? Some family members are large, some are few. And so let us look at that particular one. The other thing is that, do we have a formal or informal governance and leadership? Formal or informal governance and leadership. And once we're talking about formal or informal, we are talking about contractual or relational leadership or governance. When it is relational, it is informal. We are talking about strong family cohesion, collectivist attitude, alignment of interests with fewer formal structures. So that is informal. So people just run it as an informal system. And once it is run as an informal system, what happens? The leader dies. The head of the family dies. The husband died, the wife continued, the wife dies. And then what happened? We see the children fighting. They are at each other's throats. So then comes into the contractual relationship, the formal relationship, where we have strong institutional framework, legal mechanisms to make sure that the family runs in a proper way. And once there is a formal contractual relationship, there are three things there. One, there is clarity of roles. What are the roles? What are the rules and responsibilities that govern the family business? What are the tasks that you are supposed to do? It is defined. Who is to be employed? What you are supposed to do is defined. You just don't stand up to do whatever it is, because there is a family constitution that spells out who is a family member and what you are supposed to do, the benefits you are supposed to derive from the family. So, family firms need to have effective boards. So there should be a board of directors for the family business. This board of directors, the board of directors oversee the running of the business. So if it is the husband and the wife should not be the ones who run that particular family business. It will not run. It will not get anywhere. We have the recent case that almost crippled the financial sector of our country, Ghana. That is the case of Men's Gold. The gentleman, the wife, the sister, and the rest, they are the people who run that particular business. No effective board. for that particular business. So decisions are taken by the same person. The effective board, we're talking about you having the family members, some of the family members who have knowledge and expertise in the management of the business. And not only family members, you have non-family members that should be part of that particular board. So they bring their expertise to run that particular business that we have. This year we had the Live to Lead. And in the Live to Lead, the gentleman who spoke from Ghana says that the bank that he is running it and he doesn't want any member of his family. And there is no member of his family who is part of that particular business because he said that they will have some form of what? Entitlement to the business and they become untouchable. And for that reason, he doesn't want them to be part of that particular business. He understood the dynamics of establishing a business and saying that this is a family business and the way it is run. So the board and other people must come into it. So we have logical organizational structure that must be there. The chain of command. You need a chain of command. Who is doing what at what time? The system of communication in the organization, how disputes can be resolved. That is why we need to have either the form, but the formal way is the best way to go. And so when you're looking at this particular one, you see this particular diagram that we have. Now, the governance structure, we have the business system that deals with the CEO and the management team. That's the business system. So in a family business, you can decide that, yes, there's a CEO, there is a management team, and then there will be employees of that particular business. These things must be spelled out. Now you have the ownership systems that must be defined. You have the trust, you have the shareholder meetings, you have the family office that looks at the ownership and the way you are going to run that particular one. It must also be defined. Now you have the family system that talks about the family constitution, the family council, the family system. All these three systems intertwine with each other and they work to give a good leadership system to the family business that we want to run. Let's ask ourselves, do we have these systems with the businesses that we are running currently? Don't mistake this to say that, oh, after all, I'm the owner of the business, so I am running it. Yes, today you are the owner. Tomorrow, the vision is that this business must grow beyond me. If you do not do that, and the business that you are running, these systems are not there, and you are not educating the younger ones to come and take over, succession becomes a problem. If you are no longer there, they cannot manage it. They can hand over everything to them. They'll mismanage it, and then they will come back and blame you because you have not trained them. You have not given them any education. Mr. Enim told us from the beginning, even churches today are run as family businesses. We have schools that are run as family businesses. Some schools, the proprietor dies, and then the children cannot run the business. They cannot run it because none of them is having the educational background to take over. They don't even want any other person to come and take over. There is no chain of command. There's no organizational structure. And so we are going to look through these things, ladies and gentlemen. What is the family constitution, the council, the meeting, the family office? And how do they help you shape your family business? What goes into the constitution and all those things that we have? Yes, why do we have a family governance and good leadership? Why do we have that particular one? One, it provides a forum outside the business for family issues to be addressed. If you have a governance system and then there is a problem, then you would create that particular problem where family issues can be addressed. So where there are family issues, they don't bring it to the business. It goes to the council. It goes for family meeting. It goes for family gathering. Not this particular one. It's spelled out. It facilitates collective view so shareholders speak with one voice. They are shareholder of the family business. So you have a voice. So that collective view where all those who hold shares in the family business speak as a voice. So you gain inputs from all generations, where you avoid the situation where the older generation is claiming superiority in terms of experience and younger generation thinking that, well, my grandparents, my aunties, and the rest, they are past it. They are living in the past. They don't know what's up. That is what they say. They don't know what's up. And so there is a need for good governance system to do that. Where we have a good governance system, clarity of roles, rights, responsibilities of family members are stated. So you clear it out, you spell it out. So they know. So each family member tells the child, tells the nephew, tells the in-laws where you are coming, and this is how we do our things. So people fall into it. That conscious effort is made. But if you don't do that particular one, it becomes very difficult. When you have a good governance and leadership system in place, what are we looking at? You manage family shareholder relationship, increasing transparency, and there will be understanding of the family business. Nobody will want to be the black sheep of the family at that point in time. The education of the generations will come. So the responsibility will not be on one person. Once you said it's a family business, so that you have, excuse me to say, liabilities, people who are not responsible. Once it is discussed, people are called to order when they want to do something that is not in line with the vision of the family. So they cannot just go and pick a car and say, it is for my family. I want to use it any way I want to use it. No, they cannot do that. They cannot go to a family shop, buy something and say, it's my family, so I can just do that. No, they cannot do that. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a family restaurant or a supermarket in South Africa. This gentleman was employed and he went to the beach and raised the hand. Today the beach is so nice because there is no black man at the beach. What happened? There was a total boycott in South Africa of the goods and services that particular, those who were in line and the rest, they left. They said they were not going to do anything. What did the family do? They quickly came up because their governance structures are there. They quickly came up and said that, look, this person is a family member, but we do not subscribe to what he had said. We have therefore, according to our rules and regulations and our constitution, dismiss him from the business, and the family disassociate itself with the comments of this particular gentleman. Ladies and gentlemen, these things need to be done. Once the person bears the name of the family, sometimes people think that whatever the person does, they can link it to that particular family. But when we have a constitution and we have a governance system, it will make sure that the things are cleared from time to time. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a need for us to have a constitution. What does the constitution do? It spells out the rules and regulations of the business, the duties of the members of the business, the relationship with the members themselves, the roles that the directors, the managers will have to play in that particular business? What is the relationship between the family and the business and the employees? What are the responsibilities of the employees? What are the roles of the family members? All these things are spelled out in the family constitution. And so you have, I'm just listing about 10 content of the family constitution. Definition of the family, who is included and who is not included in the family business. That must be there. Especially where you find yourself in a polygamous family. You need to define who is part of that particular one. 2, strategic objectives, family values and aspirations. Why are we in business? Do we have it? Do some family businesses have this particular one? The question is, most do not have. So I'm challenging everyone to find out what are the strategic objectives. What values do we aspire to have as a family? How do we use this particular one to work? 2, the third one is family involvement in business. Do we involve the family in the business? The principles, employment, roles, and responsibilities. Some will say, you are a family, don't go near the business. So how would the business grow? Who would the business employ? So how do we involve our family business, our family members in our family business? So I'm a member of the family. I'm a chartered accountant. So am I not qualified to work in the family business and will be paid the salary that is due me? Or do you want the family to go and employ somebody, other persons? If you are in employment, what are your responsibilities? What are your roles? They must be spelled out one by one. And it's not going to take one day to do that. It will take some time. But you need to have discussion with the family members on how this thing is done. Then next generation involvement, education and their rights. Very key to succession. How do you involve the next generation? Their education and their rights. You know, some generations, before they are even born, there are plans for them. You know, there are some families that will say, you must go and this person that is coming must go and do this course, must do this, must do this. When you finish and then you come, this is what you are going to do. It is there. It is spelled out. So you know exactly what you are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, how the family meets and is represented, possibly including the family council. How do we meet? How is the family represented on the board? And what is the need for the family council? I'll talk about that family council very soon. But we will look at it. How are meetings had? What's the relationship between the family council, the board of directors, and the family members? What's the relationship between them? It must be stated. You must write it down. If you don't do that, there is going to be conflict. The council will assume the role of the board. And the board will want to succumb to the council. Meanwhile, the highest decision-making body of the company is the board of directors, not the family council, not the family members. But where they meet in whole, the highest decision then becomes the members at meeting. So how are those meetings going to be held? Then the 7th one, membership of family council or other structures, their roles and responsibilities. Who forms the council? What is their roles? What is their responsibility? The eighth one is the finance aspect, compensation, expenses, and budget. How do you get it? There is a school located in the western region, Takrady. I've just forgotten the name. But it is such that all the generations that go through that particular school, they do not pay fees. It is there. It is written. You go through the school, you do not pay fees. That must be part of the expenses. Are there other generation and there should be some compensation to take care of them? What is the budget for the business, for the family over a period of time? Now, this constitution is not cast in stone, not at all. You cannot cast it in stone. There could be changes. How do the processes of amending whatever agreement we have, what are those processes that we go through? And anything else the family deems relevant and appropriate must be part of the constitution. And you will be surprised. The younger generation, the older generation, a blend of them will give you a very excellent constitution that you have over time. Then family meetings. Now, when you have some families, depending on the size of the family, they meet outside the formal structure. Informal meeting of the family is enough. For now, it is the husband and the children, so they can have a meeting and decide what is going to happen to the business tomorrow. But there are some of the families that will find out that the meeting, the family meeting with this number, because of the larger number that we have, will be very broad. So there's the need for us to involve a larger number of people in our meetings, because the meeting that we have is not sufficient for the needs. There are some that will find only the meeting of the family, informal meeting, and all those things okay. But there are some that will say that no, this one is large, and for that matter, there's the need for us to go beyond that. Then we have a family assembly. When we talk about family assembly, we are talking about an inclusive forum for all family members, usually with a minimum age limit. So all is like assembly, a congress, family congress, family get together. So we are coming, and there's an age limit for people who are coming. So we can say if you are 15 years and above, then you are coming for this particular family congress. So each family can determine who is to be included in the family assembly. So when there is a family assembly, you determine who goes and represent that particular family. So if you are from A, B, C, and D, A, B, C, D, E, so and then all of them have branches. Sometimes you cannot bring everybody together. It's not possible. So you can bring some representatives. And so they meet there, and then they have discussions. Some families hold what we call the retreat, away days, restructured programs, like a company that is going and what they are going to have. Small children, next generation, shareholders, meeting, and all those people come together as an assembly. Now, once that is done, deeper issues will be done. It's like you have a corporate organization with departments. You are going for a retreat to discuss some things that are very important. So each person goes in to help the other in whatever they try to look at. Very key in doing that. All right. Then, when we have the family assembly, the next one is the family council. The family council. Ladies and gentlemen, the council, just like we have the council of elders that govern our country, there's the need for us to have that particular one as well. So the family council, how do we look at it? The family council, how do we look at the family council? And what is the family council at the end of the day? This is a group of individuals with expertise that come together to ensure that we have the right things to be done. The council serves a lot of purpose anytime there is a problem with whatever the family is doing. And so once there is an issue with the family, then there is a need for us to have the council coming in to ensure that we do the right things from time to time. Now, what are those things that the family council can do? One, the family mission and meaning of the family is stated. We have understanding of the business enterprise. Communication and mutual understanding is brought on board. They have problem solving. They have family education. And then they have family ownership, continuity, and succession planning. And so that is what the family council will try to do from time to time. So you have these things that are done by the family council. Then there is a need for a family office. The family office covers a wide range of services. Larger families adopt that one for different purposes. Key of the issues that come on board when there is a family office. The family office is run as sometimes taking care of insurance, brokerage, legal issues, tax issues, estates, and management of issues from time to time. And so that the office is run to make sure that other things in the family are properly managed. Ladies and gentlemen, for me to conclude, there is a need for crucial growth and survival of family businesses. These family businesses today, the platform that we have is for us to discuss, but very limited time, but the discussion is now on. A lot of us will need to now think about how we can do this, have open communication between the older generation and the younger generation to make sure that the right things are done. Let us continue the discussion to make sure that good governance and leadership for family businesses spell out the roles, the responsibilities, the rights. There should be an effective governance system, and there should be a logical organizational structure that is appropriate to whatever that we want to do to ensure that our family businesses are well catered for. Mr. Name, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I stand by for comments and questions. Thank you very much.
All right. I just saw one comment says this presentation is deep. And I mean, it is deep, and I agree, it is deep. And as he said, he cited different examples. We are talking family businesses. It can be anything. It can be your school. It can be your church. And I mean, there's a story of one church in Ghana. It's a popular church where the pastors were complaining, and wife stood in front of the whole church and said, I hear that there are some of these junior pastors who are complaining.
It's 8 hours.
You are complaining about what? When my husband and I started this church and were struggling to build this church, where were you? Now the church is big and good and we are paying you salaries and you are complaining. Now that is a case where the church is like a family, business. Today, most of those one-man churches are family businesses, and they need to understand how these things work. When I used to work in the bank, I had a situation where a gentleman who was running a very reputed school, one which my children attended, and he came to me, he wanted to talk to me. So I had time with him. Long and short, they set up this school. He and his wife set up the school. Somehow there was a disagreement between them. The marriage was having issues. He was the educationist, so he was running the academic side of the school. The wife was running the finance side of the school. He had no clue what was going on in the finance world. The wife was the one managing all the finances. And once the family was in trouble, the marriage was in trouble, the wife moved all the funds from the school's account and then vamoosed and just ran away.
Wow.
So when she left, she went to the bank, and apparently they had a lot of loans sitting in the books, and there was no money there. And some of the banks were after him. And he came to me. I mean, a big man, huge man. He was crying like a baby. So these issues we are discussing are very, very important. We are setting up businesses. I know also of a case where a man built the business, and when he died, the whole family, the children started fighting. And one particular one was the one who was with the family, running the business with the father. The others were doing their own things. But when the old man died, they came in and they said, well, let's share these resources and let's move on. The one who was running the business with them said, no, we cannot do that. I mean, we need to run the business as a going concern. They said, no, no, no. So there was a fight. So eventually, this one who knew the business had to move out and set up his own business, and they had to liquidate the father's business and share the assets. So these are all real issues. The cases in court, the family fighting, and people don't talk to each other. So we want to thank you so much for this presentation. Take some water as we go back to see some of the comments that are coming to us. So Ebenezer is here. Frank Asian is here. Thank you for being there. Jerry Boachidankwa is here from Tema. So Jerry, thank you for being here always. Apollos Ambrose says, nice to be here. I have some Greek name here. I don't know how to read it. Willie is here. The presentation is deep and I'm enjoying it very much. The whole country needs to hear this. And that is the feedback from Willie. Enoch Dankwa say, great, Doc. Thank you for this platform. Conrad says, very insightful discussion. Juliet Bedema says, interesting revelations. I'm learning a lot. All right. Then I have Michael Annan Kusukose. I hope I pronounce it well. Michael Annan says, watching from Pram Pram. Wonderful presentation. I've always had the idea that to have a very successful family business is almost impossible. Thank you, Mr. Yim and Dr. Seyram, for the presentation. My question, what do you do when the next generation is just not interested in the family business? Perhaps they have different passion and aspiration different from what the family business is. So that's one question for you, Doc, as you get ready. What do you do when the next generation is not interested in the business? We have Iladel Mensa says, I'm learning. Thanks, Doc. Ebenezer Tufor says, thank you to CTL for such continuous education on very important subject for our growth and success, mostly on pro bono basis. God bless CTL and the speaker. All right. William Dafoe is here. He says, awesome lessons. Good evening, dear all. Justice Ahulu says he's here with us. Justice, thank you so much. So we'll take a short break, and when we come back, Doc would answer the question, and we would have more questions and discussions. Don't go away. We are going to learn a lot. Kofi, if you're ready, we want to thank all those who participated in the Dream, Put Your Dream to the Test program, which we ended this week on Wednesday. People learned a lot. We're moving next month. We are going to come back again to the growth journey. So those of you who have not participated in the growth journey, It's an amazing program. And Kofi, if you're ready with your video, you share it with us, and whilst Prof get ready to answer the questions.
Hi, dear friend. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm the CEO for the Center for Transformational Leadership. And I'm bringing to you the growth journey. We've set aside 15 weeks of growth to help you to be intentional about your growth. Where do you want to reach in your leadership? Which area of your life do you want to grow in? Growth doesn't just happen. It has to be intentional. So in these 15 weeks, we're going to have a special coaching sessions with you to be able to grow to where you want to grow. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. We're going to help you in all and more within these 15 weeks. Every week we'll have a session with you. This program is limited to only 15 people. We're going to have 15 people for 15 weeks, and we're going to learn 15 great growth lessons on this journey. So make a date with us and see you on the growth journey.
Thank you so much. Make a date, guys. Join the growth journey. We're going to have 15 weeks again. And this is very, very, very good to help your growth. You cannot be a leader who is not focused on your growth. So, I mean, there are some of you on the line who have participated in this program. And if we had opportunity for them to share, they would share how they have grown out of this program. So we encourage you. It's only 1,500 for the whole of the 15 weeks. You're going to have just a blast. We're going to share with others. And so we encourage you to register now. And as we prepare, we were going to start on the 1st of February. 1st of February. So we have 2 weeks to get started. This is a new year, and you want to start the year growing so that by the end of the year, you know where you are. All right. So, Doc, we are back, and there was one question on the table. And so I want you to take that. I have several other questions for you. And Doris Arthur says, thank you for your thoughtfulness. And me, Hansi noticed an excellent presentation. Can you provide some guidance on allocating shares and ownership at the beginning of a family business? So 2 questions there.
Okay.
You have one generation who are not interested in the business. What do you do? What advice do you have? The other one is, can you provide some guidance on how to allocate shares in the family business?
All right. Thank you very much. If the younger generation is not interested in the family business, then it means that we have not done something probably well from the beginning. The education, the understanding of what the family business is and the rest have not been done properly. And for that matter, this generation, one way or the other, they have also decided not to be interested in the family business because they have not been given the opportunity to be heard and introduce certain things to the family business. And so there is the need for a talk with them. But if they insist on going on their own, then my advice is that you allow them to take their passion, because that education has not been done with them so that they'll be interested. Now, if we say that the person is not interested in the family business, does not necessarily mean that they should be managers or they should be working in the family business. That is not what we are talking about. They could be shareholders of the family business. Once they are part of the family, they have certain things that will affect them. And it is that particular business that we are running to run the entire family. and for that matter, we serve the business. And once we are serving the business, there's the need for us to have a proper education with them to ensure that the right thing is done. The second question, when you are starting a family business, how do you allocate the shares to the family business? That's a question. Let me just use a case in law. We have what we call Solomon versus Solomon. The business was being run by Mr. Solomon as an enterprise, but he has decided to run that particular business and raise more money. So he registered the business on the registered the business as a limited liability company. He allocated majority of the shares to himself and one share each to the 5 children and the wife. One share each. Because if you're allocating the share, not everybody will have the opportunity to buy the shares looking at the quantum of money that is needed to run that particular business. But as time goes on, you have guidelines on how people can buy shares in the family business. So it could be a one share price at 1 Ghana cedis or 2 Ghana cedis. That person is part of it. It's a commitment. With time, as time goes on, then the shareholding spread over each particular person, and that way you can have a good business. If you are starting a family business and you are saying that each member of the family should bring 1,000 cedis or 2,000 cedis and the rest, and or a share is selling for 5 cedis, and the minimum number of shares you have to buy for the family business is 5,000, and the rest that you have to get it becomes very difficult for some members of the family to be part of that particular one. But you can allocate that particular share. Maybe you are married with your wife, and then you have 2 kids. So nothing happened if 2 of the kids have this maybe 5 shares or 10 shares each, and then you are the one that is paying for them. But because they are children, they are not qualified to have shareholdings. So the shares will be held in trust for them. As time goes on, then more transfers can be done for them from time to time. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much. Just a quick comment on that. If it's one person setting up the business, it's very easy. You probably own the whole business. But when that person is gone, then the shares, he needs to arrange either in a will or something, how the shares will be distributed. Now, after that, when the family has become, when the original families are, family forefathers are gone and the family has become big, then as Dr. Kawor says, you have a family constitution, and the family constitution will set out the rules around the shareholding. Because from time to time, the business will need more capital. So the business, the family will have in their constitution how to raise more money, how other family members can bring in more capital. And they will also have rules as to whether you can bring external people into the shareholding. So the family constitution will be very important. On the question of where the other generation, the next generation, is not interested in the business, as Dr. Kawor says, now if they're not interested in the business, then you don't bring them into the management of the business. They can be shareholders. And he says that you have to separate the shareholding from the management. So if they're not interested, bring people who are competent to run the business for them, and maybe give them shares. Maybe they're not, it's a musical business and they're not interested. Maybe your business is a church and they're not interested. Or it's a bread making business and they are interested in dancing. So you can give them the shares and you can bring competent people to run the business for that. And the constitution and the rules of the family would be able to be designed to address those things. So thank you so much. There are a few more questions coming up. I'm seeing Nana Amma Bema says, well done. Kofi King says, I'm late to the table. How do we address the generational divide between founders who begin their who begin
To see.
their children as maybe who begin to see their children as threats when they bring new ideas and skills to the running of the family business. So that's a so there's you talk about the generational gap. This gap. So when they're bringing new ideas and the founders feel it's a threat, how do you address that? He continues to ask, how do founders ensure that the only child who joins the family business is well taken care of when the others are busy pursuing their passion in other fields of endeavor? All right.
All
So,
right.
I mean, like the case that I talked about, there's one child who is with the business. How do you make sure that he is taken care of when the others are doing their own thing and he's not disadvantaged? So, two questions on the table, and I believe there are more.
All right. Thank you very much. It's interesting where there is this generational divide, the founders seeing the younger generation or their own children as threats because they have new ideas, then we have a problem with that particular family business. The founder still perceives that, yes, I am the owner, and for that matter, there is nothing anybody can bring on the table. That's a big challenge to the family business. And it means that once that person is not there, you find it very difficult to have the younger generation raising, coming to be interested in the business and making sure that the business grows. Now, that challenge can be solved through deliberation and good leadership, where you have a formal structure where the founder will know you are the founder of the business. Yes, we agree you are the founder of the business. But sometimes the business will grow and there will be more than you, the founder of the business. And so these founders must accept, like in a corporate world, those who found a business are the people we call promoters of the business. They have their way, their compensation, and everything given to them. So if you are a founder and you think that your own children become a threat to you because they bring new ideas, then there is a big problem with that particular business. And for that matter, you need to understand that this business that I have created and my children are bringing new ideas, all of us have to sit together. That is where the family council comes in. That's where the family meeting comes in. So that's where the family debates and then the retreats come in. So you understand each other and then you move forward. Now, what about the only child who comes in and joins the family business whilst the rest are pursuing their own dreams and the rest? Yes, the one who comes in is not coming in to work as Father Christmas. No, that person who comes into the family business is coming in to work as an employee of the family business. And there should be compensation structure that is paid to that particular person. If there's a need for accommodation, if there's a need for a car, if there is whatever that is due that particular person, you make sure that that person takes it. But if I come to the family business, I have gone to school, I have learned, I'm a chartered accountant, and I come to the business, and you feel like I am working for the family. And so the money that you pay me is not commensurate with what others are earning on the market, then it becomes a problem. So where the person comes and is working in the family business, the compensation structure and everything must be made to that particular person. Otherwise, those who are pursuing their dreams and their passions elsewhere, they are not in the employment. They might have shareholdings in the business. And so that family business they use the funds for the family to take care of them, but they are pursuing a different dream altogether. That is to them. Now, let us also take note of this, that the family business that we're talking about, we mentioned the family office. The family office manages other family businesses. If there is a child that is not interested in the current business, but have a passion in doing something else, the same family can put professionals together to guide that particular child to establish another one and create a different brand of that particular family business. And it continues in that particular way. But where you are not doing, some of these issues will come in where there are no formal structures in place, where people do not understand what the family business is all about. Remember, Peter Drucker is telling us that the business is not serving the family, it is the family that serves the business. And that is how we need to work with it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that last point brings me to another point that you made, which says that the assets of the business does not belong to the family members. And sometimes family members think that the assets, but that the assets belong to the business, to the company. We want to throw a bit more light on it because, family members who want to come to the business and they come and take, the business car. And then you say, no, why are you? You say, I'm taking it to a funeral. I said, but this is not, you cannot take this. This is for the business. He says, no, but I'm also a part of the family. So how do you help us understand this one? I mean, when you say the assets of the business do not belong to the members and we should separate, I want you to just throw a bit more light on that.
Okay, thank you very much. The family business, as it is registered, is a separate entity, distinct from the family. If I have CTL and Sons Limited, CTL and Sons Limited as a company is a limited liability company that is separate and distinct from the family of CTL. And for us to have the business continuity, for the business to continue and be sustainable into the future, then we must make sure that you cannot just run or go and pick the properties of CTL and Sons Limited to be that of yours. It is not possible. It is separate and distinct. And for that matter, that is why we have the Constitution and we have the roles and the rules and regulations, responsibilities spelled out in that particular Constitution. And so there is a disciplinary procedure for people who will go and try to use the family's property, the family business's property as their own. The properties that belong to the family must be spelled out that these are the ones that belong to the family, not the business on its own. And most of the mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs is that we fail to realize that if it is a car that I am using and I have used that car as an asset for the business and it belongs to the business, that asset is no longer mine. It is for the business that I am running. And for that matter, if I want to use it for any other thing, then I must ask permission from the business to use it. The permission must be granted. If there's the need for insurance, insurance must be done on it. If there's the need for a fuel, the fuel must be paid for by the business. If I have a business car that I want to use for a funeral and that car is for rental, I should pay the rental fee to the company. If that is not done, the succession of the business is in jeopardy.
Thank you very much, Doc. I see so many questions coming, and we have just 5 minutes. And this is a topic that people are interested. I used to keep the shop of one of my uncles, and he told me when my wife comes and he wants to take anything from this shop, sell it to her. Let her pay. So you have to pay for it. So this one is going to be a fight in the house. So. All right. But a few more questions. Justice Ahulu is asking, please, what do you do? Please know these things and give us snappy answers because we have only 5 minutes.
Okay.
But Doc will be here for those of you after 8:30 we'll close, but Doc will be here if you have more questions for him. Please, what do you advise on the registration model of an early childhood development center, limited by shares or limited by guarantee? So that's a question for you. What will you advise? Second, Stephen Amwako says, okay, he's making a comment. Awesome. The assets belong to the business, not the family members. Okay, so he's emphasized, underscoring what you said. Kofi King says, can Doc please expand on how succession takes place in the third and fourth generations of a family business and the possible challenges that might be encountered? And this is a very important aspect, succession. So 2 questions. How do you do the succession from second, third, and fourth generation? And then Justice is asking for advice on how the form of registration you would advise for early childhood.
Okay.
Yes.
For early childhood development center, it's a business. A company limited by share or limited by guarantee. It's a form. They are all forms of company. One is by shares, where the members contribute some amount of money to the business. Their liabilities are limited to the amount of shares they have bought in the company. Should there be any liquidation, it will not affect anything. But a company limited by guarantee is where you have people guaranteeing to contribute in the event when the company is going on liquidation. So an early childhood development center, I would advise you go for a company limited by guarantee, so that you have other benevolent members who will come in and then help you run that particular business. Now, the succession plan between the third, fourth, fifth generation and the rest that you have to do. The succession plans comes with the education of the generation and their understanding of the family business. So once there is education of the generation, and you take all the generations through education and all the rest, the ones who are qualified among them comes to take up. It's not about the child, the first child, the second child, and all those things. In-laws and the rest can also come in to run that particular business. But you emphasize on competence. Who is more competent for that particular portfolio? It's not about who is the next in line. The business is not like chieftaincy, that somebody who is the next in line must be the one that will take over. No, you train the people, they must have everything. And once the person comes in and the position is available, is advertised, the ones who are qualified in the family goes for interview. Then they pick the most competent one to run that particular business. And that must be made clear to everyone that this is how it is going to be done. You don't have to breed nepotism, where you create fashion among the family members. Where you create fashion among the family members and the rest, then you are trying to put the company in big trouble. And we need to try to avoid that particular concept. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll just have 1 minute for you to run up. I will just say that for Justice, if you register your company as limited by guarantee, it means that you cannot share the profits. So that's one thing you have to understand. Members of the company limited by guarantee cannot share profit. And when you liquidate the company, you cannot take the assets. You have to give it to another company. But if you intend to run it as a profit-making business and you want to take profit out of it, then you have to register it as a limited by shares. All right. Thank you so very much. And Doc, I'm sure that if we continue, there'll be so many more questions. But at this point, I want you to give your closing remarks so that we will close. I see Akwesi can come say thank you very much for your in-depth knowledge. So thank you. So a lot of great comments here. So give us your closing remarks and then we would close. But if you are online and you want to have more discussions with Doc, we will be here after we've closed at 8:30, Doc.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity to share these views with everyone who is on this platform. Businesses are created. As the businesses are created, let us ensure that we have the right processes in managing the businesses. Family businesses are very important. The structures must be put in place. Education of the next generation is very important. The founders of family businesses, the promoters of family businesses, the people who create the family businesses should know that their ideas are welcome. Times have changed. Their roles and responsibilities may change. The next generation that will come, they should not see them as a threat. They should see them as tools for helping develop and create and enhance the value of that particular family business. Let us all work together as a team. And where the family business is lacking certain expertise, bring external people into it. Listen to them. They are professionals. And let us all manage that particular one. Let us not take the family constitution, the gathering, the council, the family office as a joke. Developed countries in the US, in the UK, families that we hear about that they are making it, they have done this thing and they have been successful. Those of us who want to start family businesses too, let us start right. Let us start from the beginning and things will be okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Kawor. Thank you very much for this very insightful presentation. We would bring our discussion to a close at this point, and I want to thank everybody, especially those who have introduced yourself and those who have asked questions. But I know that there are so many people who are also online who have not introduced themselves, and we want to thank you. We appreciate your time that you spent this evening with us. Next week, we will come your way again with another presentation. We are still in January, and it will be good to talk about business and money matters. So next week, we will talk about some money matters with another powerful speaker. So stay tuned. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels, like our Facebook pages. Go ahead and share the link with your friends, especially those who are in business, those who are entrepreneurs. This will be very, very helpful to them. Thank you, everybody. Once again, remember, we are beginning our growth journey, the third cohort. We just finished with the Put Your Dream to the Test. But if you need guidance on your dreams and developing your dreams, you can contact us and we can have a one-on-one coaching sessions with you. But growth journey starts in February. Please invite your friends, register, and let's learn together to grow in 2022. Don't leave your growth to chance. Don't live accidentally, live intentionally. And that means registering for the growth journey. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. God bless you.
Hi, dear friend. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm the CEO for the Center for Transformational Leadership. And I'm bringing to you the growth journey. We've set aside 15 weeks of growth to help you to be intentional about your growth. Where do you want to reach in your leadership? Which area of your life do you want to grow in? Growth doesn't just happen. It has to be intentional. So in these 15 weeks, we're going to have a special coaching sessions with you to be able to grow to where you want to grow. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. We're going to help you in all and more within these 15 weeks. Every week we'll have a session with you. This program is limited to only 15 people.
We're going to have 15 people for 15 weeks, and we're going to learn 15 great growth lessons on this journey. So make a date with us and see you on the growth journey.